Hello students, today we are going to see harbor topic, harbor introduction. The syllabus which were prescribed by the university comprises of docks and harbors, harbor classification, layout with components, natural phenomenon affecting the design of harbors, wind, wave and tide, currents, breakwater types, types of wharves and quays, jetties and piers, dry dock and wet dock, spillways, navigational aids, warehouse and transit shed. Out of these, today we are going to see harbor classification and layout with components. The content of the PPT here itself in front of you. Today we are going to see harbor components, requirement of good harbor, classification of a harbors, classification of the ports, and then harbor planning, and then ship characteristics. There is a difference between harbor and port. The harbor is something, harbor is a partially enclosed area which provides safe and suitable accommodation for supplies, refueling, repair, loading and unloading cargo or vessel or a ships. Port is a harbor where marine terminal facilities are provided. These terminal facilities may include custom facilities, then immigration facility if it is a passenger ship, and a port is a place which regularly provides accommodation for the transfer of cargo and passengers to and from the ship. So naturally port would be equal to harbor plus storage facility plus communication facility plus other terminal facility. Of course, from above it is very much clear that ports include harbor, that is every port is a harbor. Now if you look into the screen, there are various components of the harbor, and if you see the various components, these components includes entrance channel, this jetty, this is pier head, this is pier head again, this is a turning basin, this is a breakwater, this is a quay, this is a wharf, this is a wet dock, shed, terminal building, piers, and then dry dock and workshop. So these are called as the components of a harbor. Now, all these components I have explained earlier. It is very well shown in this figure. Now what do you mean by entrance channel? If you look into this figure, this is the portion where ship is allowed to enter into the port, for the port. So this is something, if you look into this picture, you will see that these are the ports, and here from this a ship is allowed to go. So water area from which ship enters in the harbor, and it should have a sufficient width. So if you look into this picture, it is going to, it's having the sufficient width to accommodate the largest size of the vessel or a ship. It starts from 100 meter for a small harbor, 100 to 60 meter for a medium harbor, and 160 to 260 meter for a large harbor. Now what do you mean by breakwater? So if you see the picture here, you will have an idea. A protective barrier made up of a concrete, so this is made up of a concrete or maybe a coarse rubble masonry constructed from a shore, so this is called as a shore, towards the sea to enclose the harbor. So this much area is occupied or enclosed by a water, and this is this water which is going to storage breaks from this, so that the ship can enter into this having the sufficient depth, and here they can berth the ship, and other facilities, mooring operation or other operation can be smoothly conducted. Now what do you mean by turning basin? Now if you see the turning basin, it is a water area which is required for maneuvering. Maneuvering operation means ship to move the ship as per our convenience. Maneuvering the ship after entering into the harbor. So once it is going to be there, say it is entered into this, or it is entered from this area. So this is called as a turning basin, wherein if you need to go outside the ship or bring it is, so this is how it is going to be there. So maneuvering the ship after entering to the harbor, and it is a large enough to permit free turning. So this needs to be large enough where all these ships can be very well turned and can have the maneuvering very easily. All these things as a civil engineer we need to consider before planning the harbor. So these are the basic definitions or terminology which are very much essential for understanding the harbor planning. Now what do you mean by dry dock? So dry dock is a chamber provided for maintenance, repairs and construction of a ship. It includes wall, floor and gate. So this is something where the ship maintenance is going to be there. A ship needs some maintenance. So it is it comes with the water, and when the ship comes there is a no water, and when the maintenance done it is going to be filled with the water, and then it can be transferred. So this is a chamber provided for the maintenance, repair and construction of a ship. Now what do you mean by pier? The figure itself is something. It is a solid platform at which berthing is an operation where ship is going to get attached or accommodate a place just near to the jetties or concrete platform which is very much nearby the offshore. So it is a solid platform at which berthing of the ship on both sides are possible. So here if you see your ship can have accommodate this portion or this portion. So both the side of these platform can be a ship can be accommodate, and which through which the passenger transportation and cargo transportation is possible. So this is called as a pier. Now what do you mean by wharf? It is a docking platform. So docking means here the ship is going to get attached, constructed parallel to a shoreline. Now if you see, this is a land and this is a coastal area which we call it as a shore, and when the ship can be able to accommodate or berth parallel to the shoreline, providing berthing facility on one side only. So here this ship can't go this way, only this ship can parallelly berth on the platform which is attached along with the shoreline, in the line with the shoreline. So this is how it is there. This can be very well explained in this case. Here it is a particular land and this is the sea. So you can see that these ships can be berthed or docked along the shoreline parallel to. So this is called as a wharf. Now quay. It is also dock parallel to the shore, which is a solid structure providing berthing on one side and retaining the earth on the other side. So this is how it is there, quay. So these are the quay. So it can be accommodate this much, this area can be accommodated for the berth of the ship, this for this and this much of everything. So it is a dock parallel to the shore. Of course it is parallel to the shore, which is a solid structure. So all this is a solid structure, this is a solid structure, this is a, which can providing berth on one side and retaining the earth on the other side. So it is of course related to the quay and wharf, but these are having the multiple options as compared with the wharf. Now what do you mean by weight dock? So now what happened, due to the variation in the tidal level, an enclosed bracing is provided wherein number of ships can be berthed. It has an entrance which is controlled by the lock gate. So now if I need to have this berthing or little bit maintenance for the ship or refueling, in some of the cases if it is going to berth just outside the area, deep inside the sea, then in that case because of the tidal moment it won't be possible to do the operations, whether it is a maintenance or loading or unloading of the ship. In that case a particular dock is provided wherein a sufficient water level is mentioned, and number of ships can be berthed. It has an entrance which is controlled by the lock gate. So these are the things. Now coming to the requirements of the good harbor. So of course harbor is a something which is a waterlogged area, water area which needs a water which used to berth the ship. It should be connected with a roadway and railway, because whenever the goods which are going to be come from the other countries to the sea route, it needs to be unloaded unloaded at a shoreline or coastal line, which should be very well connected with the roadway or railway, so that the maximum good which is transported should be distributed along the entire country. Surrounding land should be fertile and densely populated. Sheep channel must have a sufficient depth for, because this is the this question whether surrounding land should be fertile and densely populated. There should not be theft, or there should be this population they can use as a labor. Sheep channel must have the sufficient depth for the vessel draft of the vessel, because if the vessel is very big in size, so naturally the weight which is going to be carried by the vessel would be very high, and if get the effect of the buoyancy force which is going to displace the water and very much, and it is going to have the much more depth. So in that case the sheep channel must have the sufficient depth for the vessel or a draft. Breakwater must be provided to protect against the destructive wave action. So this is about the water wave action. The bottom should furnish secure anchorage to hold ships against the wind force, and the number of quay, piers and wharf should be sufficient for loading and unloading cargo. It should have facilities like fuel, repair and etc. for ships, and harbour area should be sufficiently large, and it should have enough cold storage. Now we are going to see the classification of the harbour. The harbours are classified based on the various parameters. So if the harbour is particularly classified based on the protection needed, they are called as a natural harbour. Harbour protected by storms and waves by natural land contours, rocky about the crops or island, that is called natural harbour. For example, if you wish to, the examples in India are Kandla Port, Cochin Port and Mumbai Harbour are said to be a natural harbour. Classification based on the protection needed, again it's a semi-natural harbour. A semi-natural harbour is protected on the side by the contours of a land and requires man-made protection only to entrance. That is Mandvi, Veraval and Vishakhapatnam port. So it needs, if you see it needs only entrance, and that's why it is going to create. It is created for the semi-natural. Now artificial harbour, it is particularly everything is constructed for artificial harbour. An artificial harbour is one which is man-made and protected from storms and waves by engineering work. If you see, the best example is Chennai harbour. Classification based on the utility. Commercial harbour, it is an harbour in which docks are provided with necessary facilities for loading and unloading of the cargo. Again it is a Chennai harbour. Refugee harbour, these are used as a haven for ships in the storm, or it may be a part of the commercial harbour, Chennai harbour and Vishakhapatnam harbour. Classification based on the utility. If it is for the military purpose, it is a naval base for the purpose of accommodating naval ships or vessels, and it serves the supply depot, that is Mumbai harbour and Cochin harbour. Fishing harbour, these harbours have the facilities for the departure and arrival of the fishing ships. They have necessary arrangement to catch fish. Then classification based on the location. It's the ocean harbour, river harbour, canal harbour and lake harbour. So what are the points and civil engineer has to consider for the planning? So these are the parameters which every civil engineer has to consider. He has to consider for the public engagement, land use planning, landscaping, land formation, sustainable development, temporary land use, harbour point management, physical leakage and urban design. Now why harbour planning is necessary? Because it is necessary to carry out the topography survey of a neighbourhood, including the foreshore and the depth of the water in the vicinity, because unless and until you don't know the depth of the water, you won't be able to give access to the size of the ship, because the more the size of the ship, more the depth of the water is certainly going to require. The boring and surrounding should be taken to ascertain the characters of the ground, because it needs to have the foundation for the jetties, piers and quays. The boring on a land, boring means when we are going to insert anything inside the ground, that is called as a boring. The boring on the land should also be made so as to know the probable surface conditions of the land. This comes under the geotechnical investigation. It will be helpful in locating the harbor berths correctly. The nature of the harbor, whether sheltered or not, should be studied. The existence of the sea insects which undermine the foundation should be noted. The problem of the silting or the erosion of the coastline should be carefully studied, and the natural meteorological phenomenon should be studied at site, especially with respect to the frequency of the storms, rainfall, range of tides, maximum and minimum temperature, direction and intensity of the winds, humidity, direction. All these things are technically very much needed. Now, site selection for the harbor. Great care should be exercised at the time of making selection of a site for a harbor. The guiding factor which play a great role in the choice of the site for the harbor as follows: availability of a cheap land and construction material. Of course, if it is a cheap, the construction cost would be very less, and construction cost is a huge parameter for any construction project. Transport and communication facilities. If you don't have this facility, your construction cost is certainly going to increase, and it will be a very complex in nature to construct it. Natural protection from winds and waves. If it is high tide waves, then again naturally you need to go for the complex design of the foundations and structures, which is again more challenging. Industrial development of the locality. If it is so, you will get a cargo, you will get goods to transport. Sea bed subsoil foundation conditions, traffic potentiality of the harbor. If you created a port, it needs a huge investment, and if you doesn't have any traffic, if you doesn't have the ship to accommodate, then it is again the project may go into debt. Availability of the electrical energy and fresh water, and favorable marine conditions, and defense and strategic aspect. All these aspects are very much essential when you consider the site selection for the harbor. Now, there are certain types of the ships. So, I am going to run a brief video which is going to discuss what are the types of the ships and vessels.
Many people assume that all products can be shipped by any vessel, but in fact, there are more than 10 types of vessels, each of which are specified to ship certain types of products. So, if we look around at the daily use products we have, like electronic devices,